The shop is open. This is the Talk About RC podcast, where we talk about RC racing, crawling, bashing, building, and dad stuff. Get back to work and listen, amigo. I'm your host, Pablo Guerrero. All right, amigos. It is a beautiful morning today. And I think people sometimes aren't so grateful for the break in weather, but I came in this morning a little early. It's overcast. It's trying to sprinkle rain. And we've had some pretty warm weather this summer, so I'm grateful to get that nice cool, crisp morning. It's still a little muggy. Out in the Pacific Northwest, we get some, we don't really get very humid weather out here, but it's pretty consistent, pretty moderate. But we had a great evening last night. So this is the race recap for Turf Tuesdays. So I did the live with Tony last night, and I'm cleaning it. So you might hear some rattling around. I'm cleaning up my office. I'm rounding third, as they say, and so for the week, and so my office is just a disaster. So I've got to clean my office, put some stuff out there, but back to the race. So did the live with Tony last night. My son went out and raced. They didn't have enough novice show up, so Turf Tuesdays is like a primer, like a warm-up race for the big races on the weekends, once a month or so. Just good practice. And so they're not always the fullest race program on Tuesdays. I mean, they generally get, I don't know how many, but they generally get a good number, but they're not very packed. So went out and raced. There wasn't enough novice, so they bumped them to 21.5. And from what I heard, I'm just basically telling from what I heard, and look at the live RC stuff. So he went in 21.5 first qual. They went and he got 5th place. I guess he started in 2nd, dropped to 5th, and I don't know who all was in his field, but it was a bunch of the normal, the regular hitters out there. So I was super proud of that. And so he got into B main. They did a short kind of grouping. They had two groups of 21.5, and then they went to B main and A main. And he got into B main, and apparently he was smoking. He was doing pretty well. I heard his name. I was on the live, and I kept on hearing his name. And one of the track owners came over while I was on the live and said, it's awesome to see him up there because he's 9. So he's up there and he's doing, I guess they're all adults, and he was holding his own, and he was actually holding people off, I guess. And he was in 2nd place into the last lap and clipped the pipe and lost position and ended up finishing 3rd. So he missed the bump by 1 in his first time running 21.5, which is super awesome. I am so proud of him that he was able to do that. And the cool thing and the funny thing about that is, there's a big semi truck coming by the shop. The funny thing is that I don't think he knows. I don't think he cares. To him, it's just another race. To him, it's just he wants to get on top. He was excited, you could tell, but he obviously knew who he was racing against, and that he was kind of racing with the big boys. But I don't think he kind of felt it was like a big deal. I don't think he felt stressed about it, which was cool. So now, I don't want to say the season's winding down, but it kind of is. It's kind of, we're getting close to that end of the season thing. We're doing our last, as a family, our last summer vacation kind of a thing, and then school starts for us. School starts right after Labor Day, so we've got, it comes up real fast on us. And now the question is, what do we do for the winter season, right? As a dad, I've got to start planning and figuring out, what are we going to do for rides? What are we going to do? Like, I want to start running a little bit more. I think I'm going to be a little, I don't know. I say I'm going to be a little more selfish over the winter, but I don't really know if that's actually going to pan out. What I mean by being more selfish is that I want to run. So I've got a T62 that I was dying to get and dying to run. And I didn't get a chance to, I ran it twice this summer, I think, maybe once this summer. Most of the time I was either helping Dalton get his car ready or, just handling business. So, and then my truck broke, and then I was focused on just getting his car ready every week for running. So, I think I'm going to start running more. I found out last night that he can run novice and 21.5 at the same time. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably let him do that over the fall just to get him more seat time. Over the winter, just to get him more seat time. The situation with our local track in the wintertime is that the way they work it is that they come out and come together every like once a month on a Friday night. So they'll come together and they'll come out and they'll put together the track, and then the next day, Saturday, is all day racing. And there's a couple big races that they do, but for the most part, it's just one day for And so he's not going to have the advantage that he has now, where he's getting a ton of wheel time. Like, we try to make it out twice a week. We had a good run at it, and then it turned into like once a week kind of a thing. And then, so it's summer, so stuff happens, we're busy, all that kind of stuff. But we were trying to be consistent. We're trying to treat it like a sport, and it's been paying off in dividends. He's been just really making good gains. So now the question is, do I do that? Do I throw him into a stadium truck? Because in the wintertime, it's 13.5. So it's fast, but it's not super fast. And I know he likes trucks. Theoretically, he could run 3 classes, right? So he could run novice. I think he could run 21.5. And I don't know if they would let him run 13.5. I think at that point, that's when we kind of have to tell ourselves maybe he's not a novice anymore. But so maybe we'll just let him run novice and 21.5 one more, until maybe summer of next year, and then let him run novice, or just let him run 21.5 and see how he does. The thing is that he's good, but he's young, so he's still learning track etiquette and that kind of thing. I'd love to see him running stadium. I think that would be a fun. I've really enjoyed running against him. I can't really run against him in novice. I don't have a 21.5 car, a buggy, so I wouldn't really be able to run against him. And then, so, I'd be running stadium, he'd run 21.5, the same car, same motor, like he'd be running the same car. So he'd basically be jumping out of the novice class. I'd swap his battery as fast as I could, and then he'd run right into 21.5. That's normally how it goes. So he would almost stay on the stand in some points. I think that would be a lot of fun. The other thing that I thought about doing is I have 2 scenarios. So we have a track about an hour and a half away from us that's a clay indoor track. I could get a set of clay tires and we could run down there, a couple times a month just to get him more track time. And he can run clay and, potentially run a race on the off races from Die Hard up here, just to see how it goes. But those races are on Sundays, and we like to have our Sundays as family days. So we'll cross that bridge. But we could either run the same car, just change tires, or we just got the DK10, which I think is basically the RB10. And we could start throwing some factory team parts at that and get that ready for a clay car, just as a a wheel time car. The only situation that I don't know if that would be ideal or not is that it's it's not a totally different car, but it would handle a lot different than his B6. I think this is a B63. Honestly, I don't know. I got it in trade, but I'm pretty sure it's a B63, B64. I don't know. It's one of those. So, a lot of scenarios. And then the other thing is finances, right? So this racing thing, I'm going to take a drink real quick. Get my coffee. Got to wet the whistle. Nothing better than coffee in the morning. Anyways, so finances, right? So it kind of gets to that point where you start to say, how much are we going to go in on this, right? So our track, I think on indoor stuff, I want to say it's $25 a class. So if he's running 2 classes, that's $50. It might be $20 a class. I don't know. Either way, if he's running 2 classes, that's around $50 plus tires. Obviously he's going to run into some parts every now and then. And then if I run, that's, about $75 a day. And that's just, luckily the track here is close to our house, so we could probably run home for lunch or pack a lunch, that kind of thing. But it starts to get to that point where you're looking at a track day, and, I know everyone that races knows this, but it gets pricey really fast. So, a track day at this level, I would say, is probably going to cost us, if we eat out and, without buying tires for that day, we're probably going to be around $150 a day. Now, that's not terrible. When I think about it, it's not bad, but what happens is that adds up. So that's only, they typically only run that once a month. So it's $150 for the day, a month. When you look at it, it's a full, it is a legit 12-hour day. If he's going to be running 21.5 on top of novice, and I'm going to be running stadium, that's a legit full day of running. So, you definitely get your bang for your buck when you think of how much a movie is. If he and I were to go see a movie, it'd be $80 for a 2-hour fun time, right? So there's definitely that. So as a dad, and he's not my only kid. So my other kid is into graffiti painting. So we got to get art supplies and paint and all that kind of stuff for them or for her. So yeah, it you start to wonder, and I guess I know he's really into it, and you start to wonder commitment level. How much do you put into it? And you, as a dad, that these kids are, they lose interest in things. So how much do you push them into it? How much do you, it's just like any other sport too. Say he was in baseball and he started falling out of baseball. He doesn't play baseball and he wants to, but we have this agreement that I used to coach competitive baseball, highly competitive through 18-year-old baseball. And I told him, I was like, nope, because he doesn't like to listen to me. Even though he's getting better about listening to me coaching-wise when it comes to racing, I try to stay out of it a little bit, and it's just more of kind of pointing out things and saying, hey, try this. It's not like baseball where I'm you got to hold it like this, you got to throw it like this. I'm probably a little bit more strict when it comes to that on baseball. But, I'd like to kind of keep him motivated, but at the same time, not put too much pressure on him. I don't think he has any pressure on him when it comes to pressure to win. Our agreement is if he podiums, we're doing ice cream. So it's not really that big of a pressure. Of course, if he wins a weekend race, we're going to celebrate. He'll probably get something out of it. Because that's a weekend race, meaning one of the monthly, it's not really a trophy race, but if he wins a trophy race, obviously he's going to get some kind of big celebration out of it. But so I mean, like our thing is we go racing. If he podiums, we get ice cream. We were going to get ice cream anyways yesterday because it was such a good showing. But we ended up our thing is we go to Five Guys. We eat Five Guys afterwards. So, having that kind of fun together is way more important to me than, I hate saying way more important to me than winning, but it really is. And being able to nurture that and just to see the smiles on there, and that's cool. And I think it builds confidence because people talking about him at the track while he's there, I hope that doesn't give him a lot of pressure. I don't think it does, but I think it gives him confidence, and we, as kids, they all need confidence. So I like seeing that. But yeah, so what would you do in this situation? Would you go all in and put your kid like in every class they could and just try to get a bunch of wheel time, or would you just let them play for another 6 months and let them play in the novice class? I think the 21.5 class will be good. The nice thing is we can test the waters. So like he could go for a weekend and try it and see. The thing that I think is better for him on that is that it's a long day on the weekend in the winter. We are there for 12 hours, and if we're only running one class, it's really, I don't want to say brutal because I don't want it to sound super negative, but it's brutal, like in a non-negative way. He has to get his attention span up that long for that duration, and for a 9-year-old kid, that's a tall ask to ask him to stay focused for 12 hours and to not, get upset about stuff, all that kind of thing. So something to think about. I don't know. We'll try it out. We'll see what happens. But for now, he's got a race at the beginning of September outdoor that we're going to prep for. He's going to miss the GP because we're going to be out of town. But let's see how he does. I'm proud of him. I'm just going to keep on saying good job, attaboy, and get his car ready for everyone. But we'll see what happens. All right, guys, let's keep that trigger pinned. I'm going to use it again, Mr. Jeff Lemoyne. You're not doing RC stuff, so I'm stealing it. Do you know what happens when you eat aluminum foil? Speaking of sheet metal, head over to scalemetalsupplies.com to find all sorts of bend and braze projects for your tiny truck. From the new Fast Dash, hot seats, shock boxes, Scale Metal Supplies has you covered. When you check out, use code TalkAboutRC to get a 15% discount at checkout. Don't forget, scalemetalsupplies.com. Go check them out. They got all kinds of cool stuff there for your tiny truck building needs. I wish I had one of those, like, chime bells. Not quite a gong, but like light your incense. Like, that's the kind of vibe I'm feeling right now. Okay, so over this last week, I have a ton to be grateful for. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about 8 things. I found a list, and I narrowed it down to 8 things of ways to practice gratitude and to see how you can be grateful in your daily life. And I think it really helps men, especially, get out of that grumpy old men phase and kind of like, have some more smiles and kind of just be more. It goes a long ways when you have gratitude. So super grateful this week. I got some cars shipped to me from Team Associated to do some videos on. The mail call was, I got some stuff from Amalgam RC, and you'll be seeing some more stuff about that soon. a set of wheels came in from Spec RC. My interactions with my other partners in RC, all that kind of thing. I'm just really grateful for the opportunities that these people have given my family. And I say that because it's not just me. Like, I think that's one thing about being grateful sometimes too, is that you kind of have to like take the focus off of you and see what the ripple effect is. And so number one of this list, it's an 8-point list that I put together. Number one would be share your gratitude with others. So I'm just going to read some of the stuff off here and so you can kind of put that off. Oh, I got a delivery. I'm grateful for my delivery. I'll get back in just a second. The joys of being a solopreneur, or whatever they call it. I'm back from taking my delivery of some sheet goods that I needed to finish these fabrication projects. So back to my list. We'll get kind of to that one in number 7 a little bit, but number 1 is to share your gratitude with others. So research has found that expressing gratitude can strengthen relationships. So next time someone does something for you, be sure to let them know. When someone does something for you and you let them know, it seems that ripple effect will really propagate throughout like their day and your day. And just letting people know that you care about them and letting people know that you're thankful that they did something for you is huge. So number 2, this is something that I think is really kind of important and kind of woo-woo, I guess, if they say it, is that come to your senses. And it's like through our senses, when we can like just disconnect and sit there and think and kind of, put the phone down. Obviously put the phone down or put your earbuds away after I'm done with this podcast. But it makes me think of an episode of, there's a show called Limitless with Thor. I forgot his name. But so essentially they said he was predisposed to Alzheimer's, and they sent him out to the wilderness with no means of navigation, no map, no compass. They gave him a point to go. They showed him a map before he left, and no electronics, and he had to kind of be in tune with the world. And, I appreciate going out and resetting and going on my trail hikes and stuff like that with the RCs. And, it's kind of funny because it is kind of a meditative state. It's like when I'm sanding a project here in the shop or something like that constant white noise drone, same of the RC car as I'm hiking, kind of puts me into this like meditative state where I'm sitting there thinking. Yes, there's times where I'll stop and take video and blah, blah, blah. But there's also a lot of times where I'll just sit there and stare at the waterfall or stare at the mountainside or whatever I'm doing. And I tend to appreciate, there's a couple moments that I had last year with my son on these hikes where we just sat there. And it was cool because I'm specifically thinking of our last hike. We did Lake 22, and we were gassed when we got to the top of the hill. And I have a picture, and I actually had it as my screensaver for a while. And I wonder if I can put a picture to this podcast for this particular one. But I had this picture of him, and I caught him just sitting there staring out over this lake, and we were in this big bowl at the top of a mountain, and he's just staring at it. And so I just sat next to him, and you could tell we were just like taking it all in, and it was awesome. It was just that moment, where you get to like reconnect with the world and with nature and all that kind of stuff. It's real woo-woo stuff, but it really helps you kind of put things into perspective. So I'll move on from that one. So the next one is use visual reminders. So it's hard setting, being disciplined and setting habits for yourself. So like, for instance, my daughter and I are doing this 14-day graffiti challenge. And instead of just saying, we're going to draw, a tag or do something once a day. I sat down with her and I mapped it out. I said, okay, every day we're going to write down a list. So like Monday was freestyle, Tuesday was throw up style, Wednesdays, today I think is going to be old school style, Thursdays throw up with a character, Friday is wild style. Like, so we have all these things, but that's a visual reminder for us to do that. And, you know, it's kind of cheesy. I don't really, I always laugh at those things that women tend to put in their houses, the live, laugh, love script. And whenever I found one time I was at an Airbnb and they were individual like letter blocks that said live, laugh, love. And if you rearrange it, actually you can spell evil laugh. Try it out. It's pretty funny. So I left it saying evil laugh instead. But, you know, little reminders like that, it can just be a visual cue. You know, like I said before, I'm a man of faith. So I literally have my Bible on the side of on my desk at all times. And so sometimes it's covered with stuff, sometimes it's not, sometimes I just see a corner of it, and it's kind of like it's a visual prompt for me to kind of go back to that mindset. So find something that it could be something as, you know, as simple as a picture on your wall, something that you walk by every day, you know, I don't know, a keychain, a sticker, something that will snap you back into it. That kind of goes along the lines of like make a vow to do it. You know, you have to be disciplined about doing something like this. You know, I forgot what the thing is that so this is let me get back to the list. This is number 4, make a vow to practice gratitude. So this is like making a pact with yourself, telling yourself, you know, telling yourself you're going to go to the gym every day, telling yourself you're going to do this or do that. You've got to say, okay, I'm going to look for the good things in life, and I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to, you know, say praise to a friend or whatever, and just, you know, say thank you and whatnot. I really like doing this with our kids' teachers. We have a small private school that we go to, and, you know, I really like to go in there and just say hi and say thanks and talk to them. That goes a long way with people, and, you know, that'll in turn, they'll treat you back. It's the golden rule of life, right? You want to treat people like you want to be treated. So when you start doing things like this, it'll reciprocate big time. So the other one is watch your language. Now, it's funny because I don't know that I actually do have bad language, and this has nothing to do with this, but you know, it's funny because I like my stepdad, I remember I started working with him when I was in high school, and I had no idea he cursed so hardcore. It was just nothing but F-bombs and blah, blah, blah at the shop. And I was like, wow, because I never heard him talk that way before. But this language means, you know, just find the words that are grateful words. Find the words that mean something in a different way. And you know, when you start to think of this gratitude, it's not to focus on how inherently good you are or we are at this, but it's more showing the inherent good things that others have done on your behalf. Like seeing what other people have done for you. You know, if it's like I said, you know, a partner in RC, you know, I'm not saying how good I am. I'm grateful that I can make these good videos or be, you know, influential on the Instagram or on YouTube. It's more of saying, I'm grateful for these people giving me that opportunity. And I think that's huge. I think that shows, and, you know, that's going to be that is actually my vow to practice in my videos. And it's hard because there's a fine line. I feel like there's a fine line in that too, because I don't want to be like flashy. Oh, look who gave me this. Look who gave me this. I want us to be more grateful and say thank you to those people that have sent out things for us to make content out of and appreciate them. So number 6 would be go through the motions. That means smiling and saying thank you and this is kind of like pretty deep, and I think this is kind of like I'm feeling extra special today, so I'm gonna bring my teacher's coffee, or I'm gonna, if you're in a workplace or something like that, maybe you're gonna bring donuts this morning or something. I remember doing things like that when I was in a studio. It's when you get to go through those motions and practice that kind of stuff, it'll trigger those emotions more from other people and from yourself to actually do that kind of a thing. Number 7 is the one that I was kind of getting back to is, to be grateful of your current state, you have to remember the hard times. So it's okay to remember those hard times. It's okay for me to go back and remember what it was like when I was a kid and we didn't really have a lot. And I think that's something that, I struggle with, is that my son in RC, I feel like he's not as grateful as I used to be, but I think he is grateful. But at the same time, it was a struggle for me to get an RC car when I was young, and I had to save up money and work for it and all that kind of stuff. And now, he comes home and we got a car to review, or we got a truck to build, or blah, blah, blah. And I think that kind of is hard to kind of change that frame set, but sharing those moments with my son and kind of telling him and my family and whatnot, I think will breed that gratitude and that, being grateful. And the last one is, it's to think outside the box. That's number 8. If you make the most out of your opportunities, you get to flex your gratitude muscles. So you got to look at these situations creatively, and look for those circumstances that you should feel grateful, or that you can find those moments in. It's the little stuff. It's the I don't know. It's funny, we call them favor parking spots when we feel like the karma in the world has come around to us and we get a parking spot right up front when the parking lot is full. It's the little emails that you get that are like, oh, this is good, this is good news. Or just the little stuff like, man, it's kind of like a frame set of like, man, my desk is a disaster and we've been super slammed, but if I back it up, wow, I'm pretty grateful that I have the work to be able to have a disastrous desk and to be so busy that with fun things that, I'm kind of running with my hair on fire. So guys, I would just say that's my man talk for this episode. Think about that kind of stuff. See how it'll change your life. See how it'll change the outlook on your life. If you're going through some hard times right now, maybe try, practice some of these grateful techniques and see how that changes your outcome. I wake up. It's funny because I don't remember what talk it was, but Denzel Washington had this speech, and he said, every night put your slippers as far under the bed as you can. And it said, because in the morning when you wake up and kneel down to pray, you have to bend down that much further. So it's, finding those kind of things to kind of seek that and to understand that those things it was something like that, it's like, so that way you have to get on your knees to get your slippers, and then while you're down there, be grateful for your stuff. Be grateful that you woke up every morning. I always joke about that, and I say, I'm almost 6 feet tall on a good day if I hang from my feet for 12 hours while I sleep, but not just kidding. And I always say, people, how's your day going? Well, I'm 6 feet above ground. So, it's the little things that will change your outlook on life. But there you go, amigos. That's your man talk for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it changes a little bit for you, and you can look at your day a little bit brighter. Do you have tiny hands? Do you insist on working on small things? Head over to ccxrc.com to get all your 124 scale needs. If you want to make your 124 scale weigh as much as your 10th scale, he's got you covered. They also have electronics too. Try the Mighty Chihuahua or the Baby Goliath and make your 1/24 scale a Mighty Mouse. Use code RCAmigos at checkout for a 5% discount and keep listening for specials. ccxrc.com, and don't forget to tell them in the messages that you're going to shoot them in the baby maker with a BB gun. Tell them Pablo sent you. It's that time again, amigos. Time for the news. So, just a random thought here. I don't know what caused me to think this morning, but as I was shaving, I always feel this way, like I'm being so wasteful with my shaving cream. Random thought, right? Like, I feel like I just hit it real quick, whoosh, and it's like this big dollop, and I use half of it. And do you guys only use like half of it and then like wash the other half down the way? Or do you guys like go back and touch up? I mean, I'm just a quick get out. But anyways, random facts. All right. 3 minutes under the clock. On your mark. Get set. Oh, wait. Actually, if I had the rights to the music, I would cue the music. Hip to be square. 3, 2, 1, go. So RC 4-wheel drive came out with their new-ish kit, square body thing. I don't have an RC 4-wheel drive. If I would choose to have one, this would be it. I love it. It's a hard body, square body Chevy, 70s style. Doesn't have correct axles underneath it, but that's okay. I can look beside that. But yeah, I like it. Speaking of square stuff, the Sendero HD Scratch and Weather Edition is out. I'm a big fan of these. I don't have one yet of any of the Scratch and Weather ones, but Element, if you're listening and you want some good scratching, I'm your guy. So I think that this one looked really cool. I like the idea of them. I love the satin black finish. Yeah, it's for me. Primal had a teaser. People are saying Challenger. I think something like that would be insanely cool. I'm saying it could be a 3 Series 1990s BMW, 4-round headlights. Just kidding. Moving on. K10 for 1/10 scale Pro Line Lexan body is now available. The same one that the new kit that came out a couple weeks ago. That's another square body. The Proline Toyo 4.75 open countries are open and available. I think those are looking like a really nice scale tire. I like that they're taller. I don't know the width on them, but the scale looks good. I think those would be an excellent pre-runner-ish tire for the look. FMS released a Land Rover 18th scale, I believe. I like the details on it. I think it looks nice. Those ones, they're kind of, I'm on the fence with because they don't look like they're the best performance. It looks like a model on wheels. But, you know, I can dig that. U.S. soccer lost and got knocked out. Earliest in history. Karma, maybe? I don't know. Kyosho Phaser C10, another square-ish body truck. Love that body. Oh my gosh, I need one. I need it. It's a good platform. Good, just the look looks good. I love the rally wheels on it. All that kind of stuff. And in other news, Post Malone bought Magic the Gathering One Ring card valued as high as $2 million. Wow. And that, my friends, is the news. And we only got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. That's the news. Are you looking to souse up your UDR? Head over to amalgamrc.com. He has some really awesome stuff for you, your UDR out there. He's got some windows, side panels. He's got the Ace House. He's got a roof rack for your LED lights on your UDR. you want to step up your UDR game and shred with the best, go check out their website. They got really, I mean, the craftsmanship that Emerson has at Amalgam is second to none. Super, super awesome. Very good attention to detail. I've got some of his side panels for the UDR, and I've got some of the side windows for it. And oh my gosh, that stuff, it elevates it to your scale realism. It looks really good. He's got that ASOS. That stuff is rad. My son is a nut for cleaning tires and just to keep your car looking sharp. The kit comes with a towel, a brush, and the spray. Definitely worth it. Go check them out, amalgamrc.com. Tell them Pablo sent you.
Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can. I can feel it all the way down in my plums, getting all swollen with a light blue hue to them, fresh and juicy, ready for the picking.
That bears the question. Is the juice worth the squeeze? That's one of my favorite sayings. All right, so I am getting ready to embark on a little trip. I haven't been on like an actual no work vacation in a while. We get to travel quite a bit, but most of the time what I do is I take my family with me when I get a job and we have to go install in Eastern Washington or in San Francisco or wherever, Oregon, whatever it is. We kind of work it into like a little bit of a trip where it's fun. I think it's a little taxing on the kids because the kids are in vacation mode, and then I'm like, hey, Dad's got to work 2 more days, and those 2 days are like 14-hour days, and I get exhausted. And then we have 3 or 4 days on top of that are fun, that we turn into like a mini vacation. But this one is just I'm not working. I'm not working on this vacation. I'm going to bring the laptop to play with some RC stuff, but I'm not working on it. So here's the question. How many of you travel with an RC? Do you, like, when we do road trips, all day long, we're bringing RCs, and my wife gives me the side eye because we're like, oh man, sometimes we get deep in RC. I'm trying to think what the last one was. So last trip we took, last one we went was to the ocean, and we only brought 2 monster trucks. We brought the MT-12 mini monster truck. I let my cousin or my nephew drive that. We brought the UDR, and I think that's it. Now, if you think of the size of these cars, they take up quite a bit of space. So we put those all, we took the truck, we put them all in the back of the truck. And then, you got the supplement. You got the toolbox, you got all the radios, you got the charger, the ammo box with the batteries in it, yada, yada. So it takes up some footprint. We went camping a year ago, and we brought 2 sand rails. We brought my Baja Ray. We brought a monster truck. We brought, what else did we bring? 2 or 3 crawlers. I mean, we go deep with it. So that's easy for us when we go on these road trips. And most of the time that's what it is for work. We take a road trip and we do, we have the trailer or whatever. But this trip, I have to take a plane. So now my question is the juice worth the squeeze? Are we going to be so busy that we're not going to play RC? I was thinking about bringing the 24 scales, and honestly, I don't know if I have time to bring them. I was thinking I might, but who knows? So we're thinking about bringing the 24 scale crawlers. We just got the Reflex 14 Huna truck, and that's pretty small, but the radio is huge. So I was thinking about bringing that, but there's really, you have to find a place to really run that, and it doesn't have drift tires on it yet. So it comes with the rubber kind of rally tires on it, and the drift tires aren't really, if it's drift tires, we could run it and drift it in the hotel room or, in our cabin room or whatnot, but it's not really meant for off-road. The crawlers, I don't know that we're going to have a lot of time or place to use them, because then if we're out and about, we got to throw them in the backpack, and then we have to be somewhat delicate with the backpack if we're going to be crawling. So like one backpack is basically going to be 2 crawlers, 2 controllers, and that's it. So it's kind of, you know, and of course, you know, doing content creation, you wonder, well, could I make some really cool videos with it? You know, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth taking out I mean, we're going to have cameras out anyway for our trip, but is it worth busting out the crawler and just sitting there and crawling for a little bit? Will we get that time? We're traveling with our in-laws. Will we get that time to just kind of hang out? We've been on places before where I've handed the in-laws the 10 scale crawler and be like, hey, try this. So, I mean, we could, I guess, but I think that the kind of trip that we're on, it's not going to be a trip where we can really just shut it down and not do anything. So we're probably going to be on the move for the most part. There will be 3 or 4 days where there will be some of that time, but I don't know if those days the terrain will be good enough for a crawler. You might have to make some in our cabin room. But what do you guys do? Do you guys have to take a RC with you? So for me, if I don't take these RCs with us, I'll be 9 days without RC, and I mean, I'm an addict. I'll be fiending and hitting and just wanting to getting some RC in. But I'll have my laptop, and my plan is to edit video at night. I'm an early riser, even on vacation, so I'll be up early, going in and getting my coffee and sitting at the little cafe there. So we're going on a cruise, so I'll be up in there. We cruise all the time. Not all the time, but we've done a lot of cruises, so we know how to like find those times. So that's the thing. It's like, do I bring it up there? And you know, it'll be cool to just edit the video in the morning and have my coffee and do all that kind of stuff. But I got a lot of videos. So like right now I'm sitting down to sketch out a quick track. I'm gonna make a quick video for the Hunicorn, or the Huna truck, the Reflex 14. So what we're gonna do is I'm making a video that shows in a small place you can make a decent little racetrack for it. I'm gonna attempt to anyway. So, well, I don't know if it'll be successful or not. You'll have to see in the video. But essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, hey, if you have the space of a typical 1-car garage, so it could be a carport, it could be, you know, a big room, something like that, you could probably line out a little racetrack for this to do a little circuit racing. So I'm going to do 16 feet by 12 feet, almost square, and I'm going to see if I can make this car rip around in that kind of a course. Should be fun. I think it'll be tough. What it will be is it'll be fun to like actually not just rip it, go wide open, to actually see if it'll handle and control. I'm doing it in my shop floor, so it's going to be a little slick. Like I said, I haven't driven it yet, so I don't know if it breaks free. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should drive it on the floor real quick before I draw a course and see what the limitations are. But it's brushed, so it's not super fast. I'm assuming it's not super fast, and it doesn't have drift tires on it, so I'm thinking it's going to want to like not kick it loose as much as I want it to, but we'll see. So let me know in the comments. These will be on YouTube at some point again, like I did the other ones. I'm going to batch do them, I think. So, and then when I post about this in Instagram, let me know in the comments on, you know, do you think it's worth the squeeze to take a 24 scale if you're going somewhere? Should I, you know, obviously I can't take my 10th scale. It's not that kind of a trip, but I wish I could. But how do you guys travel when it's that kind of a thing? Do you guys ever travel and you have zero RC? I'm sure a lot of people do, but I don't. So I'm excited to see what you guys think. I'm excited for this little track to see how that turns out. But look for that video. Also, look for some new merch. So I'm kind of toying with this idea of seeing if we can crowdfund like a self-sponsorship for racing, for a race program, and for just, you know, doing more events that we have to pay to get into and that kind of stuff, mainly for racing. So I'm thinking about, you know, the season coming up, and if I can get my son into multiple classes, I mean, it's going to start costing stuff, you know, and, you know, if we can see him get crowdfunded to do that, look for this merch. I'm going to have race themed or different themed shirts and things like that. And I'll show that all those proceeds are going to the race fund or to the event fund. And then that way everyone can track it and see what there's going on. It's kind of like Patreon, but I don't think it's realistic to have people pay every month for the content. I don't think you should pay for content. I know it's a lot of work for us content creators, but I think you know, super chats are awesome. I think there's a link in my Instagram that you can. It's like a buy me a coffee link. I don't think anyone's ever bought me a coffee, but I know people have bought shirts before and stuff like that. And it's surprising because, you know, you get 6 people to buy a shirt, and then that's, you know, a set of tires for the buggy, front and rear. So I look at it, things like that, and I'm willing to put in the work to design some stuff so it's fresh and all that kind of thing. But, you know, if you guys ever wanted to contribute to that kind of a thing, super chats when we're on, we're live with Tony would help. You know, buying the merch would help, all that kind of stuff. That's always greatly appreciated. I want to keep this stuff all, you know, I want to do more too. Like, it'd be nice to use some of that fund to make some more creations or to go and get those new cars or whatever if we need to. But I like doing what we're doing so far, and I want to teach more of how we're doing it and how to get into this RC game, how to get into the racing, how to travel with your RC cars. And that it's not so scary as what people think. So stay tuned, amigos, and until then, be on the lookout.